Okay, welcome back. And next we'll talk a little bit about Lightwright's ability to count and manage things. We talked about instrument counting. Another thing that's very useful for both designers but more for electricians is going to be counting color, right? Counting the gel and the pieces of gel that have to go into various fixtures. So let's just jump right in a little bit. And we were working in layouts, right? So we were able to change how things are going to look on a piece of paper, instrument schedule, and I want to scroll up and say channel hookup, right? And so these are different ways to look at our paper layout. And if we go back to our worksheet mode, which is down at the bottom here, we're just back in our sort of spreadsheet look. Now, I could go into my instrument type, change that, right? My sort by, and I could say sort by color, and I could count up how many pieces of color I need in what kind of fixture I need, and add up how much color I need. But again, that feels like a little bit of a drag. Why don't we go back and I'll just leave this in our channel mode. And I'm going to go to my maintenance list again. And this time in maintenance, what I want to look at, it's going to be frame. Color frame, which is the size of the gel frame that goes in front of the light. Color frame. So now I want to define color frame size. Now, how about we say an ETC source for ERS, right? An ERS, an ellipsoidal reflector spotlight, and I'll say enter. And now, how about an ETC par, right? And we know that we have pars on there, right? So here's the short name, and now it wants to know its left and right dimension. Now I just happen to know these off the top of my head. That's a 6.25 inches or 6.25, right? And let's go over its second dimension is the same, 6.25. If you don't give it a second dimension, it assumes that it's a circle, right? And follow spots use circular cuts, and regular lights use square cuts. So we're going to keep it square, right? So, and a par I know is 7.5 inches. And see, if I don't put in the second thing, it shows it as diameter. If I come over and put in my second dimension, 7.5 inches. Some cyc lights use gel that is wider than it is tall, right? So not everything is a square, and that's why we need the number of dimensions. Now, gel comes in a standard size. Gel is 24 inches by 20 inches. And Lightwright already has assumed that, and you could change that if you have different size gel, but gel sheets come 24 by 30 or 24 by 20, and that's from every manufacturer. And this shows how many frames I can cut per sheet, right? So all I've done is I have assigned a color frame and given it a size of the frame. Now, from here I can go to maintenance, and I'm going to just change to my instrument type, right? So here's my list of the instrument types, 36 degree, 26 degree, 50 degree, and par. And I have a column here that says frame label. And if I click here, I get options. That's an ETC source for ERS, and it uses a 6.25 frame. So does this fixture, and so does this fixture. All of those ERSs use the same size frame. So I've just made one label that is going to fit multiple fixture types. Now, our par is different. Our par is a 7.5 inch, and so I'm going to go ahead and click that. So now what I've done is I have made a frame label, and I have assigned that label to each of the fixtures. I'm going to now say close, right? That information is now saved. If I go to utilities, oh, come on now, come to utilities, there it is. And now I say counting, I have an option to count color. I can count color. Now, how do I want it? Here's the color that I'm going to count. I'm going to just leave everything like it is. I'm just going to say count cuts of color, and I will say okay. I have to just drag it. It's on my other window, right? So here's color count, and it shows for R54, I need 9 cuts of R54, and it fits an ETC source 4 at 6.25 by 6.25. I also need 18 cuts of R60, and I need 9 cuts of R318. It also shows me what lights, the light and the frames that it takes, so that I can double check that. I can give this to an electrician then, and they can run off merrily and pull all of the color for the show, right? So this is just a little bit about color counting. I can close this. If I want to print that, you can do it very much the same way, counting color, right? And now report to is an option down here. This says a report window, which is the window that just showed up. If I say I want to send it to the printer, I can say okay. Now, what printer do I want to send it to? Microsoft PDF, print, and I'll call this small theater demo, and I'll call it color count, and say save. I probably have to find it, demo color count, and I'll open it. I think my page setup may have been a little weird, right? But here's the list of the color. Let's organize pages. I think I just had my options set to portrait from another project, right? Oops, spin. And I'll say file save, and we'll close that. I think I just have my options set to sideways. But it shows you all of the counts that are here. Here's the R54, how many cuts I need, right? And again, all of that frame information. So it's the same counting thing. We just want to send it, you'll just be sending it to the PDF printer. And again, that's from Utilities, Counting, and then select what you want to count. You can also count instrument types the same way to be able to print the inventory that you're using to send to the electricians. Okay, so that's a little bit about Lightwright and counting and color counting.